communication and the U.S. This scheme was followed by Witkoff's proposal to extend the ceasefire agreement for 50 days. To what extent does this reapportionment put Netanyahu in a difficult position? And I hope you could also tell us how you describe the historic communication between Hamas and U.S. Do you think it's a reapportionment, and do you think this put Netanyahu in a difficult position?
Yeah, so as we know, the priority here for the Trump administration and his special envoy is peace. Peace for the Palestinians, peace for the region. So they're going through extraordinary lengths to make that happen. And they're going to do that and talk to whoever they have to talk to achieve that goal. Also, we have to get hostages back to Israel. And ultimately, this is all about getting peace, and not just a peace for today or tomorrow, but a sustainable peace for everyone in the region. And this is not an easy task. This has been going on, as everyone on your television viewing knows, that this has been going on a very long time. And it's very complex. There are very few Americans that know what's going on truly over there. So we all have to appreciate how difficult that this is for the Americans, and even for the Israelis and Hamas, to sit down at a table and come up with an agreement. So again, I would say that the Trump administration is pushing for peace at all lengths, and they're trying not to undermine Israel's goals of...
So, sir, do you think this is the main reason to start this communication between U.S. and the Hamas to bring peace?
Yes, absolutely. Because if they're not talking to an opponent, how can they get peace? Okay, so they don't want to create more war, and the Americans don't want war, as you see in the Middle East, as well as Ukraine and Russia. The United States is going through extraordinary lengths to bring peace in multiple war zones. So they are talking to Hamas to get peace, to get to the negotiation table, to see what they can do to get the hostages back.
And do you think Netanyahu has been hindering this communication? According to your opinion, do you think Netanyahu is hindering or an obstacle in this negotiation?
I don't think so. I think the United States is a close ally of Israel. I think President Trump has a special relationship with Benjamin Netanyahu. But I also know that no Americans really want war in Palestine and Gaza. We don't want Palestinians dying. We don't want Israelis dying. And we don't want people taken hostage. So that's why you're seeing this extraordinary effort to what appears to be extend phase one of the agreement to get more hostages back and to get somewhat of a peace in Gaza. We have seen Palestinians returning to Gaza, to the north, and although they are living in tents, they are there.
I will come back again to discuss these points with you, especially why there is no more American support and effort to start the second phase. Why the first phase was extended by 50 days and didn't start the second phase. I will discuss it with you this later, but I will move right now to Dr. Tamara. So Hamas has given this acceptance for Witkoff's proposal, but with some terms in order to continue the negotiation according to the first agreement that started in 18th of January in order to continue the second and third phase. This was the same point that they used to refer right now. To what extent the Israeli factions can pressure in order to implement these agreements? Turning my greetings for you. Hamas movement has referred for more than one point, including the start of the second phase negotiations. The second phase negotiation for Netanyahu we cannot start the second phase except after some terms, after some American terms. I have a problem in hearing the other guest. I will fix the problem and come back to you, sir.
It's okay.
As all the parties have agreed on the first agreement in Doha, but we see the wet copper bottle in this moment because at least they want to rescue the current government inside Israel. As Netanyahu has expressed this point that he is in a really difficult problem, that he cannot have these. He cannot accept to have Hamas in second day of Gaza. Turning mics. Why Israel is very concerned in order to start the second phase of negotiation. Turning mics. There are more than one reason. The first reason that in the second phase there are some security commitment, including the full withdrawal from Gaza Strip. Israel will not be present in Philadelphia corridor or in its Netzarim corridor. In addition to another commitment, including the permanent ceasefire agreement, there are two terms that Israeli occupation forces are escaping from it. In addition to Netanyahu has his personal problem, his political life are on the stake. He cannot transfer the bill if the budget bill, if the second phase has started. We have seen so much rich and other extremist ministers that have been threatening him to shut down the government. Netanyahu went to came back with Ben Gvir to the government in order to be able to transfer this budget bill. The Israeli people want to remove Netanyahu. We have seen the opposition leader, someone as Bennett, who want to remove Netanyahu from his post. So, turning mics. All what is happening inside Israel is also very important things, but I want to continue this point regarding what is the Israeli goal from hindering the second phase, especially with this important news for you, Mr. Mohsen, about the target. An Israeli drone has targeting campus inside Israel, who, in addition to an attack on Beit Lahya camp in Gaza just hours after Witkoff proposal was announced, despite the Israeli initial approval. This was the most severe attack since the ceasefire agreement. What is Netanyahu's objective in continuing escalation in Gaza? Turning mics. The goal is clear. In order to fail all the attempts and efforts, including Witkoff proposal, he gave these impossible terms as withdrawal of Hamas leaders and bringing them out of Gaza Strip and disarmament of Hamas. There is a very funny term that say aid will be given only for the civilians that was targeted by the Israeli drones. And I have seen that 70% of the injured and killed in Gaza are from children and women, and 90% of the hospitals are not running right now. Formally, Netanyahu has given these impossible terms to make Hamas reject the proposal. And he is given saying only on he is saying that he accepts this proposal, but on the practical way, he is refusing this proposal. He is paving the way, actually, as 9 were killed today for those who are working in the humanitarian field, including journalists in Beit Lahya camp and also in Juhr Dik region and Al Praj region. And also in these tables that is made by the humanitarian organization to offer food services, he is give this order to prepare for a limited war, and we don't understand what the Israeli understanding of limited war. He is giving the orders to be on an alteration inside the Israeli staff and army, because you know that Netanyahu has his personal interests that he will gain if this war continue. Especially after the Israeli people have been supporting Unir Par, the opposition, and also the Shabak turning Mike. So what do you think about the internal thing that's happening inside Israel? And also regarding the hostages file, turning mics? All of that reveals that Netanyahu since 2023, and he went to destroy the deep state in the Israel. He went to change the structure of the security system for personal interests. And he is transforming Israel from a democratic state into a Jewish lobbies that deliver its interests. And this was actually documented in different organization reports, including Human Rights Watch. So he went to protect himself from the corruption, legal prosecution, and he went to control the security system inside Israel. He is described as a corrupted man, and he doesn't want to have any systems or courts to hold him any accountability. He wanted to destroy all these systems inside Israel and restructure the state again that help his personal interests and to be introduced for the Israeli media and Israeli people that he has achieved the victory in 7 fronts. And he was able to occupy a lot of locations inside Syria and Lebanon. He is trying just to be introduced in a better image for the Israeli media, and the Israeli media understood his manipulation, and also the whole world. I hope the American administration also understands his manipulation. For that reason, Netanyahu has pledged that he accepts this proposal, but in the practical way, he refuses this proposal through the impossible terms that Hamas will never accept. And Hamas also has given this impossible. The secret word, the key word for Hamas is ending the war. There is no guarantees that what will happen after 50 days, and these negotiations that might lead to ceasefire agreements. There is no serious commitment in Bitkoff proposal. So, ending the war is the central point. As Hamas, neither the Palestinian people want to remove any stress to restore the war again. This is the main point. Maybe Hamas is somehow might be flexible regarding the hostages, but they can't be flexible regarding resuming the war. To continue the destruction, attacking, and targeting the Palestinian civilians, continue the starvation wars that is used to achieve political gains. These crimes that is considered crimes against humanity and war crimes, and the international community need to understand that Netanyahu is leading the world at turning mics, especially with this escalation, not only in Gaza, but also in the West Bank, turning mics as targeting the camps, turning mics Ankara is talking, especially what's happening in the Middle East. We have seen this escalation in different fronts. And this takes me to Mr. Domu again. Mr. Barry, the question for you. Have mentioned that Israel is the strongest ally to U.S. Why Trump administration has decided to communicate directly with Hamas, despite they know that this will provoke anger and concerns among Tel Aviv?
I think that they are talking to Hamas because they may be able to get a negotiation or maybe be able to talk in a way that maybe Israel is unable to do at this moment in time, just like the United States negotiates through some of our allies like Saudi Arabia or Qatar. So this is nothing different than that, in my opinion. I think this is just a focus on getting this war done. And we mentioned about the phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1 is working. What's the rush is probably what they're all saying on both sides. What's the rush to go to phase 2 if we're not in an active war zone right now under what we have compared to months ago where Israel was off the hook bombing everything and their targets. It is not the same. There is a peace. I'm sure the colleague that we have as a guest in Ramallah can add to that. So there is a peace compared to months ago, okay? And the phase 1 is working, and I see no rush to get phase 2 because remember, in phase 2, Hamas gives up all of its power in Gaza. Remember that. So I think both parties are not in a rush to go to phase two, especially if phase one is bringing some sort of peace. We're having prisoner exchanges, and they're probably saying, why ruin that? Let's go slow and let's keep the peace. It is working right now. And I know Israel's doing...
Yes, sir, and that is the reason of the second phase in to continue the ceasefire agreement and the pause, especially as Israeli, as you have heard, start bombardment in different regions, which is considered a violation for ceasefire agreement. So why we don't start these attempts in order to continue that peace, especially and start the second phase of agreement, because Steve Witkoff has refused Hamas to only release American Israeli hostages and refuse the release of other four. But what we could understand from all of that, why we cannot just start the second phase.
Yeah, there seems to be a reluctance on both ends to go to the second phase, and for points, which is what I already brought up. As far as Israel doing an attack recently, it's my understanding that this is an isolated incident. They were targeting somebody that was targeting their forces, but as a whole, you don't see Israeli tanks rolling through, southern Gaza right now. And that's the piece they're talking about. I imagine on both sides, there are going to be some small violations, and that's unfortunate. But as a whole, the peace is holding. And for whatever reason, and again, it's because of what I believe I just said, that there is a reluctance to go to that phase two. And that's why you see Trump's special envoy speaking to Hamas right now and trying to figure this out and trying to get a peace that, again, is sustainable, not a temporary peace. And we have to also remember, Trump is going to bring peace to that region. We may not like how he does it. I may not like it. You may not like it. But the overall goal is that is the agenda. This has been going on since all of us have been children. Enough is enough. Trump has decided there's going to be peace there in the region, and that's what I expect.
Dr. Tamara, the Israeli channel has reported from these resources Netanyahu may would like to start another operations in Gaza Strip that he called limited. As my guest from Cairo, Dr. Mohden, we don't understand what does he mean by mahduda, by limited, because we can see a lot of operations and might happen, and this may be called as a pressure against the Hamas. Maybe these escalatory plans will hinder the ceasefire agreement. Turning mics. Any efforts regarding ceasefire agreement might is hindered by the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, even in the political levels. Not only about having these humanitarian pressures by not allowing the delivery of aid to Gaza Strip that has reached for 16 days in order to force Hamas to accept the Israeli terms. In addition to this agreement and the closed door between the Israel and the US, the other important point why they insist to have the gradual approach of the Israeli operation. There is no something limited in the military work. By having these airstrikes, even when we speak about these limited operations, they happened in the previous recent days since the start of the second phase. Many people were killed during having the iftar. So the limited operations have more than one approach including to start the bombardment and to continue the assassination in order to completely disarm Hamas. All of these are approaches and ways to pressure Hamas to accept Witkoff proposal. Turning mics. And what is expected from the Hamas side? Hamas side until this moment has only one card, which including 59 hostages, while the other card is they cannot use. Hamas has only the hostages tool in order to achieve the goal, and we can see the Egyptian mediator, Egypt and Qatar are trying to have the better conditions to implement the Arab plan. I believe Hamas' responsibility right now in order to distance itself from the implications of resuming the war. They supposed to deliver the authority for a more Palestinian actor who is accepted globally and regionally. It's a very important step in order to achieve the main goal of having a ceasefire. To the ongoing negotiation between Hamas and US, I believe it's somehow skipping the Arab plan. Maybe Hamas' goal in order to have a role in the future of Gaza, and this is not accepted regionally or globally. Even for the EU, they are giving this statement clearly that the future of Gaza must be different. But regarding Hamas' vision, until this moment, Hamas is clear. They want to restore the hostages, but they need some guarantees, and this is a very natural demand by Hamas. The political security guarantees, including the full withdrawal from of the Israeli occupation force from Gaza Strip, it's something very normal. Any Palestinian administration will ask the same demands. Turning mics. And the same question is raised: what if Witkoff proposal is not implemented? If both parties agreed on this proposal, that means that they will continue to prolong the first phase. All of these questions we will be answering this, but I would like to thank you from Rwanda, Dr. Tamara Haddad, and I will ask my two guests, please stay with me. We are going in a short break. Barry,
yes.